What are your thoughts on this? The question is, Omenya is mentioning that someone is behaving badly. And we've seen this in the petitions without even getting into the merits of the entire petitions and who said what. The affidavits seem to contradict each other. People have their different prayers. Is that indication that the presidential election should be looked at in a much deeper way? And where does the buck stop? Should it be the IEBC or the contestants?
I think it is important, the things that the Prof is mentioning. And we must not just look at the presidential elections in terms of the results, but the process really matters. And what happens soon after the elections is very significant. Let me speak briefly about the process and then go to the main focus that every Kenyan should really be alert on about the post-election era. And in terms of the process, we have now clearly confirmed that the close contest, the interests that drive these close contests, the interference with the process is not just an issue of by default, but it's really by design. We have spoken about the starving of IEBC in terms of budgets since 2018, when some of the people that Prof is mentioning threatened to revisit both the commission and the judiciary after the elections of 2017 were nullified. We have seen the dilly-dallying of completing the composition of IEBC and the appointment of critical staff in the very critical directorates that require to prepare for the elections. We saw attempts to try to remove the Chebukati and the two commissioners and Chebukati, and we've seen the various interferences. What really is worrying for me is that the previous commissions had some decency to behave and act nicely in public, basically putting up a brave face and some level of comedy that is very much Kenyan in terms of faking some of these things. But these ones have had very serious disagreements in public, that we are no longer embarrassed about the undercuttings and the underhand, the under-table dealings that are interfering in the process. But even if we were to treat that by fixing how we've structured IEBC and how we become a little bit serious on appointing these commissioners, the issues of post-election, how we need to increase political accountability, how we need to make these democratic institutions to improve on their performance, are issues that we have to go beyond just saying William Ruto will remain president-elect and be sworn in, or the elections will be overturned, and then we have a fresh election. My worry is that going into the post-election phase, we are relying on these same characters that have been elected to vet the IEBC appointees, because there are only two ways, Trevor. One is that the Supreme Court will dismiss the petition, or the Supreme Court will acquiesce with the petition. Either way, we will have half the commission in trouble and will need again to fill it. There will be either the three going home in January with a bad name, or we will have the four remaining with still egg on their face. So the focus should actually shift away from who is going to be the next president, but how do we make sure that we don't repeat the same mistakes in 2022? And how do we make sure that the intervening period between 2022 and 2027, we have heightened our abilities as citizens to engage in governance. Participation has been, augmented, and we participating in governance as a people. Political accountability is heightened, that democratic institutions beyond IEBC are really performing, because if we leave IEBC to be trampled upon, we are going to find other critical institutions, and we're not even mentioning them. Commissions, independent commissions, were starved of budgets. They have not been able to do their build-up work towards elections. Just recently, we are seeing, the commission, the judiciary getting their budget ring-fenced as per the constitution. But before that, we had judges not being appointed when they had been, recruited in a fair process, constitutional process. So these are the issues that we need to focus on beyond who becomes the 50th president of Kenya, because if we don't fix these institutional failings, then we'll still find ourselves in the same challenges in 2027 and asking ourselves, when did the rain start beating us?